the summer of 1942. I was walking on Litt Avenue and I was thinking about the raid on Dieppe, which happened on the 19th of August, and our local regiment, the Essex Scottish, were massacred at Dieppe. A lot of my schoolmates were killed, wounded, or captured in Dieppe. And I was walking past our recruiting unit, just on impulse. It was at the 5th floor of the Canada building at Litt Avenue. Went up, applied, walking down the coast with the barbed wire, and the guy would say, stay within the barbed wires, put your step in my footsteps, otherwise this is a mined area and we don't want you to go off the beaten track because you're going to explode and kill yourself. Going back in retrospect, after we landed in Bournemouth, it was the end of October 1943, and we were there for about a week, and Lord Haha, who was a propaganda minister, or Goebbels was a propaganda minister, Lord Haha was broadcasting the propaganda. And we'd been there for about a week, and they said that I understand there's a new contingent of Canadian aircrew arrived in Bournemouth, and very shortly we're going to give them a warm German welcome. So everybody's laughing, oh boy, there's a lot of propaganda, oh, yeah, so on and so forth. About 5 days after that, air raid sirens are going. And we were in Bath Hill Court, and I come out in between the buildings, started looking up, see what's going on. The air raid sirens are going, you could hear aircraft coming over, you could hear bombs exploding, getting closer and closer, and the RAF regiment guy was saying, get in the air raid shelter, get in the slit trenches, you stand there, you're going to get killed. Don't stand there with your mouth open. And when the bombs started getting closer and exploding, we all made a dash for the air raid shelter. So Lord Haha was right, the Germans did give us a warm welcome. Now, I've got just a little facts and figures here that people aren't aware of. Bomber Command had the greatest loss of any service. RAF Bomber Command, aircraft lost in combat, 8,655. Aircraft lost in accidents, 1,600. Total aircraft loss, 10,255. Aircrew lost in action, 56,000. Of that 56,000, 10,000 were Canadians. Too great a loss for such a small country. 13,000 have no known graves, and 10,000 became POWs. United States Army Air Force 8th and 15th Air Force, their bomber command lost 9,466 bombers and approximately 30,000 U.S. aircrew. The only trouble with war is that young people get killed in the war. Too many young people get killed in the war. It's a Fleet Finch, bi-wing, open cockpit, only a little piece of plexiglass in front. But later on, the Fleet Finch had a canopy to protect you from the weather. But we started on this one. And then you progress. This is another Tiger Moth we flew in England. We went from a Tiger Moth to a Harvard to the Oxford that I tried to loop and I couldn't do it. And a Wellington that I tried to loop and couldn't do it. To a Halifax over here that I tried to loop and couldn't do it. And then here's a thing of Royal Air Force Bomber Command. I think there's like 158 different squadrons in Bomber Command, and these are the aircraft. There's the Lancaster, Halifax, Sterling, Wellington, Mosquito, Hampden. That's all the different aircraft that Bomber Command flew. Took approximately 6 hours there and back. We bombed synthetic oil plants, railways, transportation places. The longest trip I show in my logbook is 8 hours and 15 minutes. And we sat at the kitchen table. He had his logbook, and I had my logbook, and we were comparing notes. And basically, from the time involved, from his location, we figured that he was the one that shot us down. But we asked a few more questions, and I said, which way did the attack come from? And he said that with the Scratch Muzak, he come up underneath with the upward firing cannon. He had me in his sights, and he pushed the trigger, but his guns malfunctioned. No, said attack come from underneath with the scratch Muzak. And I said, no, it couldn't have come from underneath because the attack did not come from underneath. He said, let me explain. Underneath with the scratch Muzak, he had me in his sights, everything was all set. He pushed the gun button to fire, and his guns malfunctioned. So he said he come up along the side and shot us down with his forward firing guns, nose guns. And I said, what did I do? He said, you took immediate and violent evasive action and I lost you. Otherwise, I would have still got you. That's why I say that you are lucky to be alive. And I found out later on from Conrad that he shot down 13 four-engine bombers. He got the Iron Cross, second class, and first class, and other medals. And after he got 3 four-engine bombers in 10 minutes, his flight commander told him he was going to recommend him for a crystal chalice. I never heard of that. I think it's a trophy of some kind. He said, I have one ordered for you, Conrad, but here, drink out of mine and use mine at the present time. When the war is over, you'll have one for yourself. And Conrad says, I'm still waiting for mine. So we had a little laugh at that. Going into retrospect, when I was still working the sales office at United Airlines, there was a German girl working there, and her name was Gisela. Now, she said she was not a Nazi, but in conversations with her, her father flew in the First World War with Goering. They were good friends. She has pictures of her sitting on Hitler's knee. Now, I do believe she was a Nazi. However, she married a U.S. Army captain and came to the United States as his wife and was working at United Airlines. And when the name was Gisela, I said, that reminds me of Operation Gisela, and we got shot down by a German night fighter and crashed and went head on into another Halifax and destroyed 2 Halifaxes at the same time. And she said, you destroyed 2 heavy bombers at the same time? And I said, yes, I did. She says, did you get the Iron Cross? I says, no, I was on the other side. So,